Munguia stops Ryder. I called it, guys. Canelo's potential opposition for 2024. Is Shakur Stevenson retiring? All this and much, much more on Tough Talk Tuesday.
This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is Sakura, and the namer of the show, Robert Alexander. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm having an amazing night. It's freezing cold here.
How cold is it, Sakura?
Cold enough for me to have on sleeves, okay?
It's probably 40 degrees, maybe a little bit lower here right now, but not bad at all. I'll take it over the negative that we had about a week ago. But let's get right into it, guys. We got some news definitely to talk about. First off, let's go over Shakur Stevenson announcing his retirement. I didn't take it seriously off top. I think everybody else, a lot of other media and news outlets are buying into it. I just think he's just saying that to say that. Like, this is what boxing does now. You look at T.O., right? He just came out of retirement. I don't know how many times Tyson Fury's came out of retirement, at least 4, right? Like, it's just what happens, right? I mean, he's not actually retiring, guys, is he?
Yeah, I really think that he was being sarcastic. When you read like a couple of tweets together, you see that he was a little frustrated with Navarrete not being linked up with him for a championship bout next. And so he was just kind of like, this is, boxing is trash. he became a fan where we start bitching and complaining about boxing and we say these types of things. He started saying the same type of stuff. Like, I don't even want to be a part of this type of shenanigans. I'm retired. So I understood what he was trying to say. But yeah, they ran with it and got him some, free marketing time. So, I mean, it all worked out.
I mean, in a way, it's good to see a fighter also putting his 2 cents on all this garbage, like WBO and all that. But go ahead, Rob.
So, the way that he phrased it, I wish we would have had the whole tweet. But he was talking about Navarrete in the mandatory fight bout that the WBO announced. And then at the end of it, he said, I might as well just retire.
Yeah.
So, and then the outlets ran with it. I had to look just a minute ago to make sure, but it's not on ESPN yet. And if it's not on ESPN yet, it's not official in my book.
Okay. You keep fishing for that ESPN job.
But
he plugs ESPN so much, you should work for them.
He really should, actually.
I'm available.
Just because I call you my Stephen A. Smith, don't mean you're Stephen A. Smith.
Well, he can do the boxing. He can be the Stephen A. Smith of boxing because, I'm sure he has more knowledge than Stephen A.
Yeah, he does.
Boxing. So, it would be a welcome change when it comes to the reporting there. I'm actually Sakura A for real. If we really want to, just put it out there that a female can do it too.
Well, my initials Robert A. I'm Robert A too. Robert Alexander, baby. Robert A.
That's
okay,
right.
I'm with it. All these A's right now, and then Lucas is a B, baby.
That's
so
right.
He's still at the front of the alphabet.
A side, B side.
I do gotta say something. Speak on this Shakur Stevenson situation because we're saying that he is speaking up against or out against the WBO or whoever he's mad at, but it's kind of his own fault. Okay, it's kind of his own fault because he should put on better performances and he needs to step up his level of competition. 2 things that he definitely needs to do immediately because he can't be mad at them passing on him if he's not really putting butts in the seats.
I mean, I'm not all the way disagreeing with you, Rob. I mean, if you look at Navarrete's fights, you know what I mean? He it's much more entertaining. He's much more easier on the eyes as of late. Makes more into it. But again, Shakur's just, I think, so much more talented so far, like you said, than his opposition. It doesn't necessarily translate to good TV.
Yeah, I mean that's really where he's at a disadvantage is because he had a bad showing basically, right? In his last outing. And so once, fans turn on you quickly. So, people get to think about something like a mandatory move for Navarrete, but it's still not going to solve the problem that, it's kind of like would Top Rank want to put two of their stars against each other right now when one's numbers probably isn't as great as the other, as far as the entertainment factor. Or not saying styles do make fights, so we don't know exactly what would be the outcome of a Shakur versus Navarrete fight. We really don't. I mean, but we just the fans are only as good as their last fight. In his last fight, he had, a low number of punches and output. And people were really frustrated with that fight. So just to say, we want to see the stars in matchups with each other, but we can't rush something because that's what we want when we know that business-wise it doesn't make sense right now for those two to fight. And I think that's why the WBA went ahead and made that mandatory for a different opponent. It buys time for Shakur to build up his marketing again as far as being watchable. And it also helps Navarrete because it refreshes him in this new weight class to have a fight under the belt before he goes in there and fights someone as technically savvy as a Shakur.
I mean, I definitely agree with you there. My only thought is the way Navarrete fights sometimes makes me think that this is not going to last forever. We look at Leo Santa Cruz, right? The way he fights is somewhat similar. That fighting style is going to get you a shortened career, right?
Right.
So you do kind of have to hit it when it's at its peak. He's nearing it. If not, it might be here. He's going to take a lot of abuse, and then it's going to go down and down from here. So, guys, just real quick, do you think he needs to do it? But first, let me get the comments here. Will Hunter, thank you so much. We always appreciate your support and coming on and all the comments.
What's up, Hunter?
He says Shakur isn't going to retire. He won his last fight in spectacularly boring outings. Styles make fights. He is trying to chase a check. He can't get a payday unless he jumps ship to another promotion. All he's doing is ruffling the feathers, hoping a golden goose egg will shake out.
Yeah. Well, he can move up. Move up in weight. That's what I'm just gonna say. If you are not happy with your current circumstances at the weight class you were in, move up in weight.
Do you think he's ready to move up, or should he just be forced into it, like you're saying, because there ain't no big payday there?
I mean, it's kind of a situation where this is the same thing that happened to him when he was at super featherweight. Everybody moved up in weight. So then he moved up to lightweight. Now everybody moving up to 140. So it's kind of like he's been chasing, these fighters that have names that get you big paychecks. I'm not sure he's ready to move up because I just don't, the accolades that you usually want in a division before you move up, that's still obtainable for him at lightweight. I think that it's a good time for him to try to see that through. But he has to, like in his next outing, whoever he fights, he needs to basically destroy them. Like he doesn't need to be, trying to make us understand that he knows, how to outbox someone. We all know that at this point. He's proven that multiple times, different fights. But what we want to know now as fans is, are you prepared to entertain us? Are you prepared to, go into a storm again and really, fight your way to a victory? Because these low output boxing matches that he did in the last outing, that's not going to get you any type of real support or energy behind you fighting someone with a bigger name.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's why we got Bradley Providnikov, right? Everybody was like, "Come on, Bradley, like have a real fight," and he was like, "All right, I'm going toe to toe with this motherfucker."
Yeah, y'all said I didn't win Pacquiao fight, so I'm gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you all that I deserve, to be mentioned in the names of, legends at that time, like a Pacquiao.
Right. All right.
You gotta put it all on the line and just see what happens.
Yeah, and hopefully we see that soon with Shakur. I think we may be a little bit away, but I think it's coming. If we don't get a Navarrete fight within this year, I say 2025. It'll probably happen.
My thing, just to say, now he did say that he wasn't feeling the best that night of the fight, and this does happen to people, that are athletes. Certain times you're just not going to perform at a high level like you want to. So, not for nothing, if you're a Shakur supporter and a big fan of his, you should continue to be so, because it's just maybe it's just a fluke and he really did have a bug, or his arm, his hand was having issues. We don't know, but we know that he wasn't up to his normal par in that particular fight. So he's definitely worth some more looking into as a fan. I definitely still support him.
Yeah, I mean, just me as a person, I wake up different every day. I mean, something's kinked, I can only imagine what an athlete goes through. So it's got to be so much worse.
Right.
Let's move on. Let's talk Canelo's potential opposition for 2024. We're hearing rumblings of two names, right? The other Charlo, and of course Terrence Crawford. I'm not happy with either one of these, of course, as you well know. Neither one of them are at his fucking weight class. So you're telling me that basically everything for PBC, he really isn't even defending his belts. Like, you can say, yeah, he is, but in a way, they're not at that weight. He is bringing people up to that weight. And I do recall saying that exact wording is that he will be bringing people up in PBC, that we will not see a defense. And we're seeing it.
Lucas,
we're seeing
I'm going to have to support you in what you're saying. 100% you did warn us that this doesn't mean that we were going to see the new Chiller in Manila type of fight. we were going to get some of these off-putting matchups. You did warn us of that. And now I'm sitting wondering, I'm like, damn, so that's how they secured a 3-fight deal. By promising to bring up some of their boxers that are at lower weight classes to Canelo and allowing him to pick and choose who he would be willing to fight. And I just can't stand it. Like, it's just driving me nuts, because these are people that Canelo could actually be fighting and winning against as real 168-pound boxers that are available. Instead of you holding on to these titles, being an undisputed champion and not defending your championship belts against other 168-pound boxers. And what's really irritating me is that the fans, some fans that are Canelo fans, it's just all gravy for them. They don't care. They're like,
eat it up. They eat it up.
It's like, damn it. Of course he beat them. They're not in his weight class at all. Like, stop giving him credit for doing things when you know he can do better. Like, it's not even a point of like I've said in my entire podcasting career. Basically, I'm like, Canelo can beat these guys. This is what's frustrating for me. It's like, I'm not one of those people that's like a Canelo hater. I'm like a Canelo supporter that believes in his abilities, but get frustrated when I don't see him like showing his abilities and his skill level against other boxers of his own size in his own division, weight division. I mean, especially when you got like, Benavidez sitting at that weight even though I don't feel like he's really a 168-pound fighter. You know, he makes the weight, as Rob says. So therefore, that's somebody that, you know, a lot of people want to see him fight. Honestly, not me. I really don't prefer to see that fight. I think I know the outcome of that fight. So, I mean, that doesn't really tickle my fancy, but I mean, there's other people at 168 I would like to see him fight. But what we're getting is a 160-pounder, 154-pounder, 160-pounder, and now we're talking about a 147-pounder.
Mm-hmm.
Up to 168.
But why are we surprised? I mean, look, I don't understand why Canelo gets away with so much. Other media would probably roast other fighters for doing this, but Canelo gets a pass on a lot of things. He got a pass with Amir Khan. I was the only one, and I felt like I was nuts, that was giving Canelo shit for it. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do I want to watch this? I already know the response. And everybody's like, oh, it's a good fight. What's his fucking name from ESPN, Rob? The main writer.
That time?
At that
probably
time.
Dan Raphael. Yeah.
Yes. He's giving it props. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Because it's a good.
Because what? Because it's a fucking name, dude. And that's what he does. He gets these names. I'm going to bring you up, right? Then I'm going to beat you. And then you're going to go back down. And then that person can just claim I was daring to be great. And he can be like, I didn't have to take that fight. You know, he's probably a future Hall of Famer. That guy gets a Hall of Fame name put onto his resume, but he beats the shit out of him, and he's really 30 pounds heavier. Make it make sense, Rob. This is what we've been talking about with these weight bullies. And Canelo's worse because he's not only a weight bully, then the motherfucker brings him up from even lower. So he's like double times the weight bully.
You have to have two parties agree to a fight at a certain weight class.
Look, motherfucker, I will do it. I will do it. It's a lot of goddamn money. You talking about gotta agree. Gotta agree. I would fight a gorilla for the amount of money that they make, okay? I would go into the zookeeper and fight him hand to hand.
I understand this, Lucas, but
for a lifetime now. Come on.
The problem there is that nobody knows who you are. They don't want to pay to see you fight a gorilla.
No, the problem is Canelo's at the top, right? He's that guy that he should be a coveted spot that you have to earn a fight against. The problem is you don't have to do that. That's
but that's what he's telling 168
not
pounds.
true at all.
He's telling them that they need to earn it by fighting each other. So see how he's saying, you need to earn it, but at the same time, he's not having to maintain them titles by actually defending it against other 168 pounders.
The rules state.
And then when Bivol says, I will come down to 168, he says, nope.
We don't know if that occurred. We don't know.
That already occurred. That's fact.
That was hearsay. Canelo says he didn't get no contract at that weight.
The last I heard is he said it was too much. He wanted too much. He's pricing himself out. But he can just say anything is too fucking much. He can just say, Bivol wanted $1. That's too much.
Here's my point. The rules state, and it is, two people have to agree to a contract in boxing. Two people have to agree to a contractual weight class in boxing. Then you have the weigh-in, where two people have to actually weigh in. Both parties have to weigh in at that weight class for it to be an actual fight in the division. If those three things happen, it's a 168-pound fight. Whether you like it, Lucas, whether you like it, Shakura, those are the rules and those are the facts.
Boring.
So whether you're sitting here saying that he's not fighting in his weight class, he is.
Right. So we're
fighting at the contractual weight that they agreed upon and made.
So Rob, you're okay with
throw that argument away.
So Rob, you're okay with having fights that you actually know the outcome of?
You don't. Why? Because
why you don't?
He bought up Floyd Mayweather and got smoked.
That is not like no. That was before he even he was doing a catch weight. He was trained.
Floyd.
That doesn't even count.
Guess what?
Canelo.
Y'all heard it here first.
Like,
Y'all heard it here
bringing
first.
up something that's like not even relevant for the Canelo that we know today.
Yep.
I'm just saying,
Y'all
I just
here.
want to see him fight somebody that's already at 168 pounds and already on rankings for
Who are those names?
pounds. That's
Who are
usually
those
the way
names?
it works when it comes to sanctioning bodies, etc. You need to be on their ranking list. Since you want to get technical, you're supposed to be on their ranking list in that particular pound for pound list for that division, or you can be in a weight class above or below, and then you can still actually be on the rankings in the same sanctioning body, but in that weight division. But what we're talking about is 2, 3, and more weight divisions to come up and get these lucrative Canelo fights. I mean, we know why these opponents are doing it. You know, it's the biggest payday they could ever make in their life. But what we don't understand is why Canelo keeps doing it. When he
guess what?
An actual. Well, you explain why would Canelo want to?
Well, guess what? He fights.
He's really the
fights.
number one undisputed champion at 168 pounds, and he barely defends it against other 168 pounds.
I don't care about that.
You tell me why
I don't care about that. Because guess what?
His team is doing it. I'm not even going to say Canelo. You tell me why his team keep doing it.
Because guess what? William Hunter and all of y'all back me. He fights Bud Crawford. It's Mayweather all over again. He loses that damn fight. And then I'm really going to shove that in y'all face because the weight ain't going to matter at all. It's skill.
Unless he is drained, unless they talk Canelo into draining himself.
It is skill. And I'm telling you each right now, Terrence Bud Crawford is the best I've seen.
You are delusional.
It doesn't matter. It's about weight. Yeah, he's the best you've seen in his weight range.
No, he's the best, period.
He's the best, period. Period. Yeah. Who the fuck have you even seen him fight to say he's the best, period? He don't have a fucking resume, bro. There ain't nobody that he's fought. No one. We're talking, who do we got? We're talking, he fought Errol Spence, and we're talking a damaged Errol Spence. He has not fought anybody.
Now y'all going to diminish
for you to crown him the best you've ever seen, you're talking he's better than Floyd, he's better than Manny. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. He ain't better than either one of those two, not even fucking close. He has you haven't seen him fight anybody to say that shit. There's no measuring stick there. There's absolutely no one. The best win he's got is what? Fucking Amir Khan? Come the fuck on.
No, the best win he's got is Errol Spence.
No, it isn't because Errol Spence couldn't fucking see.
Demolished Errol Spence. So now y'all are sitting here making excuses trying to diminish him.
You fight a one-eyed person. You fight a one-eyed person.
Too. And that's okay too. Because that's why this debate stops here.
Lucas,
let Canelo fight.
Please read one of Hunter's statements. I don't have my glasses on. I can't read what Rob is alluding to. Can you read it, please?
The last Hunter one did not had to do with what we were talking about earlier, but I'll read it anyway. Other than catch weight with Loma, what can Top Rank offer him? He is watching Tank get real money, while his biggest purse was like $3 million. Hell, even Raleigh Trash Can is getting more filled up than his is. Shakur is like Bud, maxed out with Top Rank.
So that was that. Okay.
I mean, but what's that got to do? Rob, what was you saying about Hunter was agreeing with you with Canelo?
No, he's saying back him. He was calling for Hunter to back him, but either Hunter stopped watching or Hunter ain't backing you. One of the two. Look.
No, I'm not finished yet.
Who name a good Crawford win? Hold on, we got to come back to this because you no. You stand by your statement, Rob. You stand by your statement,
and I'm telling you right now.
Then you
the
have
argument and the weight shit and all that stops this year. Let Canelo fight Bud. Please.
I hope it does. I hope
Canelo fight Bud.
But I want you to tell me what fight did you witness that you said, oh, Crawford's better than everybody. He's better than Mayweather, better than Manny Pacquiao, the best I've ever seen. When did you come to that conclusion? I got to know.
I'm glad you asked. Every fight.
Oh my God! You see, that was the most
Crawford
political fucking answer you could have gave. You just went in a circle. That's all you did.
Literally, I just feel like
circle.
we're not even discussing what we started out discussing anymore.
Not really.
I mean, but my thing is,
I'm telling you right
Canelo,
now, I want to see Canelo fight Bud. Watch. I'm telling you right now.
I just want to know
not
how
gonna
many
happen
people
the way
are
y'all think.
really excited about seeing Bud Crawford go up to 168 from 147 pounds and face Canelo.
It's ridiculous.
I just want to know how many people actually agree with you, because I have no idea who is on, what side of the fence when it comes to this. I just know it's not that enjoyable for me, because you guys know I'm all about fighter safety and things like that. And I don't think it's a good idea for these weight classes that were established for a reason to not be honored anymore. And I feel like that's what's happening. Like, the more money you have, the more you don't have to honor the rules that were put in place to safeguard fighters.
Exactly. I mean, that's been that entire way. If you actually follow boxing, I'm not talking about it casual. You tune in for the pay-per-views. If you follow boxing, you follow boxing news, you can point out all the discrepancies of what it happens. You know what I mean? Especially with the A side, especially when somebody like Canelo, who is the face of boxing, guess what? Everybody else was in that WBC clean boxing program, right? Who's ranked the top 10. This motherfucker was not. He was not until he got what? Till he got caught with clenbuterol, right? And that Golovkin fight. And then after that, he still was bitching about it. And then they finally, they did it anyway. And now I'm still severely thinking that he's not, because I don't be hearing about him getting tested at all. That's just me. But now they're saying that they're going to allow clenbuterol, like certain amounts and shit. It's like, come on, you're bending the rules for this man, right? I mean, you've seen some of the WBC responses to text from back in the day. They're literally defending Canelo. Like, it literally is there. It is word for word. Like, oh, his defenses will come. These are all voluntary. What do you mean? How many voluntary are you going to let him fucking do? You know what I mean? When is it in? That's my true question. And Rob, this is a question directly to you. So whenever you come back on, but I got to know, right? So you say weight don't fucking matter, right? Weight don't matter to Rob. So what is Bud's cutoff? How big can he get? Is he going to take on fucking Tyson Fury next? What are we talking here? Because for you, weight don't matter. I got to know where you're coming from. Where's the cutoff at for Bud Crawford?
Bud is talented enough to beat whoever they put in front of him.
So you say light heavyweight. He's good. Bivol, better be Ev. He can fight them.
He can fight them.
Oh my God.
That is what a true pound for pound champion fighter is. If you put them at any weight that they make, you put them any weight, they gonna beat your ass.
You can't honestly think
that's a literal thing. Like, that's just supposed to be hypothetically. You could put them in any weight class. But
yeah, that's what pound for pound means. Is if Crawford grew right naturally, or if you could just make him what he is now, but at 170,
or
then
yeah, or at a minimum weight, like, or a strong weight, like
170, he can do it.
What you're not understanding, Rob, is to do that, he just has to put on a lot of water weight. This is not going to be natural, right? I mean, he's basically still going to be fighting at 147 at 168, because there is no way he can naturally, without steroids or anything else, gain that weight correctly to fight Canelo. That is not possible. It's just not.
So I mean, we need a dietitian so we can find out if it's like literally really possible or not.
Thank you. We can't
to gain the muscle mass. It is not within a year. Now, if we want to talk down the road,
we're not doctors.
Yes. You talk to Kyrian. I'm sorry, I messed up your name on
Syrian.
But yeah, talk to him. This is what he studies. Is what he does. Is our heavy bag guy. Talk to him. He'll tell you naturally not possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, an actual nutritionist that went to college for that. Yeah, he should know more than me.
He'll tell you it's not possible. But I think we've came to this. Go ahead, Sakura. You were going to say something.
I was going to say we just saw a similar matchup with someone that wasn't with Charlo, he was 154 pounds, not even 147, and we saw how the outcome ended up. Like he felt that power of a true 168 pounder, and he didn't want that business.
No,
It was not about that life.
and we're gonna,
That's how it goes when you're going up in weight and you feel like, damn, it's like the bone mass and the muscle mass is totally different.
and you know what? And we're going to talk about this here because it speaks volumes.
I meant to say bone density. I'm sorry.
We're gonna transition that into Munguia versus Ryder, right? So
Okay.
again, we see Canelo finally fighting somebody at that weight. I'm not saying he was bad. Obviously, he won that fight, but he struggled, couldn't get a knockout. Here we see Munguia take care of business. You know what I mean, and get him out of there, right? That's what happens when you fight somebody at your correct weight. When you do not, you get stoppages like against Charlo, and you get all these little guys that he has beaten up throughout the years, right? What, Rob? I can hear you. I can hear you sighing over there.
Y'all are completely diminishing these fighter skills.
Am I? How so?
You're completely diminishing that. He can only beat him because he weighs heavier than he does.
Ryder?
He can only beat him because he moved up in weight. He can only beat him now because he's actually fighting in his proper weight class. No.
Who are we talking about? Munguia or Canelo?
I was talking about Canelo when I said that.
Oh, well,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what? To be fair, we really need to, at least give a few minutes to Munguia's performance on his own, like without.
We were going to get there. We were
Yes.
getting there. It was a transition from Canelo to Ryder. That connection.
Okay, I was getting confused. I'm sorry.
I was going to build from there, but we got off topic now. But basically, Canelo couldn't get Ryder there, right? Munguia took care of business. Okay, let's go from there.
Okay, all right. So Munguia, for me, he demonstrated that he's a different type of stylistic fighter than a Canelo would be. He has a different way that he is aggressive, and that he likes to show that he can push you back, and that he's the boss of with the ring generalship in the ring. I like that about him, and I like that he shows us that when he really wants a win and when he really wants to finish someone. And Ryder was that guy that he wanted to prove that with. And it was obvious to me right from the beginning that I said, oh shit, he's out for blood tonight. Like he definitely wanted to send a message. It was in his performance that you could tell that he wanted to set a tone and make people aware that he might be the real boogeyman of 168 pounds instead of it being a Canelo or a Benavidez. And what I liked about how he did it was he didn't just, he mixed up a lot of different skills in order to overcome Ryder, who was in there to win it. Like I think that's what probably set him apart from some of Canelo's other fighters, because he got the money, but he was also in it to like actually try to win it. Like he didn't try to just lay down or be like, well, I don't care now because I got the money. Like you could tell he was really into the fight. And the same thing with Munguia. So I definitely respect Ryder and what he brought to that fight Saturday night, because it made it a very entertaining fight. It was very exciting to see a boxer just be able to go in and finish his guy the way he wanted to and conceptualized it in his mind, and also send a message that, hey, I'm another bad boy at 168. Don't overlook me. And that's what that statement did. And now you have people wondering, okay, well, how many more years did Canelo really want to fight? And is this how he's going to end his career with Munguia as a matchup in which he passes the baton to him? So that means that was a winner. It was a win for Munguia in many ways, because he established himself at 168. He established himself as somebody that you should be on the lookout for in that division. And he also established the fact that, hey, I can be potentially the next cash cow as a Mexican boxer that rivals a Canelo generation. So I really like this fight for Munguia. I thought that it was a great performance, and he stopped Ryder, who was definitely in it to win it. So I like all of about it. I liked everything about this fight.
Yeah. Can't remember. Did we do predictions last week for this? I mean,
I think so.
I know I gave mine, but I can't remember. Did you guys pick Ryder? Did anybody pick
I was fucking wrong. Yeah.
Not admitting to your actual prediction being wrong.
No, I remember. I think he was at least saying Derevianchenko. He's like, oh well, he beat Derevianchenko easy, so he's got Ryder, and I'm like,
no, quite
is that
the
what you said?
opposite. I thought Ryder was going to perform better than Derevianchenko.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
Right, you did. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I didn't want to compare Derevianchenko with Ryder. I mean, they're two different types of fighters, and Ryder does try to come in and set up some things a little bit different than Derevianchenko, who's more like he's more a counterer and
he's like a Golovkin light.
Yeah, like he's like, and he's also very spontaneous about, it's like a second nature for him to fight. Whereas Ryder was trying to set up something and try to like catch Munguia, coming in. And he was trying at one point, which he should have stuck to that. He should have kept pushing Munguia back on his back feet because he wasn't able to throw anything at him while he was pushing him back. So I felt like he had some missed opportunities there. Maybe he wasn't aware that particular tactic was working, or maybe he just wasn't up to having to do that for 12 rounds, maybe. But it was definitely effective when he was having Munguia on his back feet. But needless to say, I was excited with the fight, and I thought together they made a great competitive fight.
So
definitely
he was successful at pushing him on the back feet. He couldn't do it the whole fight. Here's why. Mm-hmm. When you go into a fight, prediction especially, do your research, people. Don't do what I just did and mess up your research. Freddie Roach is absolutely phenomenal with Munguia. Absolutely. And this Munguia was a whole lot different than the one who last fought in the fight of the year against Derevianchenko last year. And here's why he couldn't. The angles at which Munguia was able to throw and land his shots now is way, way better output for him in the future. He's not just going in looking to land one or two punches that hurts his guy. He's now throwing more combinations and more punches at different angles to throw off his opponent. And that's a very dangerous sight, which is why the message is clear to me that this Munguia, because he was always going to get better. Always, because he came in the game very young, very tough. So he was always going to get better. But this version with Freddie, it clicked. And it's clicking at the very right time. He is a serious threat if they get more fights under the belt with Freddie Roach there. This guy could be the next big thing.
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think he looks better underneath Freddie Roach, but I think Derevianchenko is just a different monster. It's hard to look good against Derevianchenko. Nobody has, really. He competes in every fucking fight he's ever been in. Nobody wipes out Derevianchenko. You just don't. And I would think Derevianchenko, if they made Derevianchenko versus Ryder, I would pick Derevianchenko to knock Ryder out as well.
Well, at this point, Ryder's on his way out, it looks. And not because of the outcome of this fight. I guess he was talking about possibly this being his last fight anyway. So that goes to show you. But I don't think Ryder showed that in the ring, really. I think he came to win the fight. He stuck to his game plan. Munguia was a different beast in there.
Yeah.
What I
Yeah,
look at,
like his opponents now, and like he's getting the upper echelons of competition, so he's at a disadvantage right away. But that's not to say that there's not some 168 pounders that he could actually give a very hard time to. But I had said it in the beginning. My prediction was that both of them was going to have a very tough night to get through, which actually was the truth right up until Ryder got caught with something that you just can't recover from. And that was what made it so exciting. Is like, I like those give and take type fights. Now, can Munguia produce that same outcome with other 168 pounders? Not just talking about Canelo, but just others in general. And I'd say yes. And he's a big guy. Even at 168, he still made Ryder look very small, who was a hydrated 168-pound fighter who's been there for a while. And he made him look like a little shrimp. So that's just to say that that's a big dude in there. Munguia can cause a lot of people a lot of problems. And I'd love to see him against some of the heavier or bigger side of 168 pounds. Besides just Canelo, because I think he makes some exciting fights with multiple 168 pounders.
For sure, and we're leaving out somebody that's just recently, I would say, went into contender status, which is Diego Pacheco. I mean, every time I see him, he's fought phenomenally. Sky's the rocket, or sky's
the limit.
Sky's the limit. Sky's the rocket. Yeah,
I like
sky's the limit for this kid.
You got a catchphrase. Sky's the rocket.
yeah. The two takeaways, the two things that impressed me most in this fight, honestly, is I already talked about the angles, and I think, Lucas, if you go back and look at the Durianshenko fight, it was a lot of in-your-face type action, a lot of shots being thrown back and forth, counters even. I think in this fight he cleaned a lot of that up, but there's still some to be done because he was getting caught with the left by Ryder too many times.
Yeah.
So I definitely know Freddie's going to definitely look at that. But the other thing with this kid is that chin. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Does that kid have the chin to be in those types of fights?
That's a good point, and that's another reason I don't know if we'll see a Canelo Munguia. I mean, I hope we do. But
I feel like that's going to be his retirement fight when he passes on the baton to the next great American, Mexican American fighter. I feel like, well, he's not Mexican. No, he's just Mexican, right? He's not an American part of it.
He's from Mexico. He's
so Tijuana,
right?
Yeah,
Tijuana,
so
and
that's like the great next Mexican fighter that's gonna be like he could pass on the baton to. So, I see that as a great marketing tool too. Like, will Canelo, leave on top, or will Munguia be able to take his throne away from him, basically? So I see that as a great way to go out with the retirement. But in the meantime, will we actually see a Canelo versus Benavidez? Doesn't look like it. It's looking more like we're going to see a Big Charlo, Jamal, and a Bud Crawford. And then he'll probably do another fight with, I'm thinking that he's going to end up doing a fight with Matchroom again with somebody like a Belanga. That's what I see. So I that's how I see it going down.
That's even worse.
I really hope that don't happen. I would boycott that fight almost as much as I said I would boycott Mayweather Khan. Like I went hard on that one, and that one didn't happen. So I'm glad I didn't have to boycott that fight. But that one I think I would, because there's just that fight don't make sense to nobody, right?
I'm telling you
Don't make
what
sense
I'm
to
telling
nobody.
you, because Berlanga right now, he's with Matchroom. He's got multiple fight deal, and it's gonna wrap up with PPC in September for Canelo. He's gonna be fulfilled his contract with them, and I see where they're testing Berlanga with opponents now. In a few weeks, he's gonna fight again at the end of the February, I believe, the 26th, I think. But anyway, it's like he's getting groomed for that type of fight to me. But I could be wrong. But I'm just telling you that that's probably a possibility.
I don't know. Whenever we say that, usually, if one of us on the panel says that, that usually comes to fruition. So I really hope you didn't just predict that, because I really don't want that. This is something that, again, maybe they could sell it to me if Berlanga can get a couple of big wins. Maybe I'd be on board. So I'm not gonna say never, but for right now, I would be like pissed, just like I am about Bud and the other Charlo. He just needs to defend his undisputed title. I was so excited for everybody to finally do undisputed. In these last couple of years, right? We've been getting a lot of undisputed, right? But nobody fucking defends it. What's the point? Like, you collected them like Thanos, but then you just take the rings back out and you throw them away.
It's a lot of money to keep these belts, Lucas. What the hell do you want from these guys?
I just want a few defenses. I mean, I didn't know.
Like, give me them coins. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why a lot of times some of them are not really afraid of other people. They just feel like I could just drop these belts, keep my money, and I can move on to another division and see if I can't capture it again and make history. So, I mean, you can't fault them, but at the same time, you kind of want that nostalgia moment where somebody is actually defending their division like a Marvin Hagler would. So it's just, you want
to see somebody.
Like, this day and time, it's not the same sanction fees that they paid back in the day.
Yeah, look, I don't give a shit about the belts, okay? Just beat the top 10 motherfuckers. Just run the gauntlet in the division. Just knock out everybody, or at least fight everybody. Fight them all, win. I don't care how you do it. Just win. And you're the man to me. But nobody does that. Not a single motherfucker does that. No one.
Okay, but what I'm saying to you is like, well, if you're defending your belts and you're saying do like the top 10, like, you done already fought half of those dudes just to get to that undisputed champion.
You would think, but no.
Right?
You would think.
I mean, the only person I know like that's undisputed that didn't really fight a lot of people to get it is when Devin Haney had the lightweight undisputed. He literally, fought one guy. But everybody else is like, you done fought like half these guys in that ranking just to be to that level. But I mean, I understand what you're saying, where you want someone to just like be like, you know what, I want to hang on to these belts a little longer. Yeah. And Regis Prograis was trying his best to do that, but he ran into Devin Haney on his way to 168 pounds. I'm sorry, he was 164 pounds tonight at fight. But I mean, he still is that guy that doesn't mind defending his belt at 140.
Yeah, I mean, and the same for Crawford. I would love to see, other people like Boots, somebody, at least one other killer, not some name, just some random body they throw up there.
The only thing I'm gonna say to you, Lucas, don't ever say I ain't never did nothing for you. This one is for you. But the only thing I am gonna say about that whole subject,
I'm really scared. What is you about?
And we can put this all to bed with this statement right here for Canelo, is there's no excuse to sit here and say that these guys aren't worthy enough to fight you, because everybody who fights you, you're the A side by far. So if you drop those excuses, why not fight David Morrell if you believe you can beat him? Why not fight Benavidez if you believe you can beat him? Why not take those fights? Because anybody else that you fight is never going to be as big of a name as you are. And the real fanship wants to see you fight younger guys that people feel are dangerous, not that they haven't built a name for themselves yet.
Right.
Give them the fight and let them build their name.
Exactly. I couldn't appreciate that more, Rob. 2 thumbs up from me. But here's what it is it's King of the Hill, right? Canelo's ran to the top, except he don't want the other people. He's like, oh, you can't touch me, you can't push me off. I want you down there. You come up, you try to push me off this mountain. And that's what it's been. That's what it's been for quite a while. That's what it's always been for the last 2 or 3 years now. CJ here, let's see what he has to say. Why do they have to pay a fee for the sanctioning bodies? If you become undisputed, there should be one big belt, and you give the sanctioning bodies back their belts and rotate the number 1 contender in the WBA, IBF, WBO, provided the judges. I would love this for them to make a new title and actually work it together. That would be amazing, like a new undisputed title. But the problem is still, once that person loses, I feel like you have to collect the gauntlet again to be able to hold that title. You cannot just beat one motherfucker then and be like, hey, I'm the man. No, because he could have just gotten a car accident like Errol Spence and now fighting with one eye. You know, you got these weird instances where that's just not fair. So I'm agreeing, CJ, and disagreeing at the same time.
I mean, for me, I know that there's expenses for when you have championship fights, you have to, the sanction body has their referees they bring in, their judges. There's, the actual belt itself, how much that costs. Like, they're just expenses that you actually pay more money for to your boxing commission for these championship fights. So it's a lot of intricate details that we're not thinking about when we say like they can just have the belt for free. But the amount of the sanctioning fees is like far outran what they actually pay out at this point for these fights. And it's just sad that we can't get to a place where you can feel like there's one belt for the established best of the division to have. And there's now like multiple people that can hold the same belts, the same division titles as the main guy. So, it's always very confusing for the casual fans to understand. So like, who's really the best, who's really the best of this division? Because at lightweight for so long, everybody was like Tank, but he didn't have the belts. He only had the WBA belt.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like confusing. So is he the best, or who are you saying is the best? Oh, is it Lomachenko? No, he doesn't have the belts. Oh, well, who has the belts? Nobody can tell you. Like, okay, well, see, it's like this. You try to break it down where this person got this belt. This person over here has this one. This guy here has undisputed. Well, how does he have a WBC when he's undisputed with the WBC? See what I'm saying? Like, It just confuses the fans even more. So for that part, CJ, I wish there was like one belt that would say, hey, this is the real champion of the division. This is who all the guys need to be if they want to be the real number 1 of that division. So, I mean, I see it both ways.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to kind of come back to the undisputed talk here in a little bit. One, guys, do you think Ryder should call it quits? Should this be his last fight? You want to see him fight again?
Honestly, I could see him fight again because he's fought two of the best fights, 2 of his biggest fights in these last 2. We don't know what he can do with the other guys yet.
Yeah, I mean, he got a split decision win over Danny Jacobs. That's about it. That's about the height of his career. So I want to see what else he's capable of. I mentioned a fight earlier, and I would still like to see it. Him versus Derevianchenko, I think, is still a barn burner. You put that on a co-main somewhere, that will help sell some fucking tickets because I would pay for that myself as a main event. But regardless, those are two not huge names. So as a co-main event, I think it would work really well and be able to sell a card main event really well.
I real quick, I think Big Charlo should fight him. I think he's not ready yet mentally for Canelo. I think Charlo should fight a Ryder just to see where he's at.
I like that, a step up to 168. You take on Ryder instead of a Canelo first. It's a measuring stick to see, am I going to take care of him as well as Munguia did, etc. I agree. I think that's a smart move, smart step up.
I'd like to see him fight someone different than Ryder, but I definitely wouldn't mind seeing Ryder in some other fights. And, I think it's a great opportunity for Ryder to showcase what he's all about without fighting like phenoms of the division. He can still like kind of show where he's at in the division with other players. Because right now they're just throwing him at like the top, the best of the best tiers of competition. And so it's going to leave him on the, the losing end of most of these fights because he's, it's so much that goes into being a side fighter for any big fight with an A-side fighter. So I'd like to see Ryder fight someone else that's established at 168 and see what he can do with one of those people, like a Caleb Plant or like a let's see, who else? Andrade, like some of those other 168 pounders. Not Benavidez.
I'm curious, in those two names you mentioned, would you favor him in any of those? Because I definitely would not. Caleb Plant, I think walks.
He might could do something with Andrade with just being a stronger boxing in him and just being aggressive. Like he might could do something with Andrade because to me he's not really a 168 pounder. Like his body and his physique.
I agree with you there.
Doesn't really suit that weight class to me. I feel like he needs more muscle and more strength and conditioning in order to really be solid in that division. Because otherwise, you're just gonna get bullied around in the ring, which is basically what we saw when he fought Benavidez. So somebody like Ryder is bulky. They kind of stop. He's like a beefy type muscle fighter, like at 168. And I mean, he could push somebody like Andrade around. I could see that. It's aggressive wise. And sometimes you can just win a fight just on pure heart, who's more determined. But Caleb Plant, he's another one where he has the strength at 168, but he likes to outbox people. And at certain points, his stamina lets him down. Like that's what fails him in these fights. It's like he's doing great until he's tired as hell. You know what I'm saying? So you can try to just wait him out till he gets like to that point in the fight where he gives out a steam. And I hate saying that, but I feel like that's his kryptonite really, is when he slows down and he starts getting tired in the second half of the fight. I don't know who else, but I just don't see him against the Benavidez, obviously. I mean, I just want to give him some fights where he can actually attempt to be, not considered the B side, but in more equal fight. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. That's hard to find for him.
Yeah.
What was the question, Lucas? I came in late.
Hey, James.
Hey,
hello.
We were talking what was next for Ryder. If you would like to see him continue, there was talks of him retiring.
We know who Ryder is and what he's done and what he's been through, and hats off to him. He gave it a good shot on Saturday. He was just outgunned, but we know where he stands. We know where his career is, and hopefully he's saved a lot of money, and he's definitely made a lot of money. He fought Canelo. So, but we know where he's at in his career. Good for him.
But that's where he wants to be at, and he's mentally checked out. Because sometimes they say, "Oh, when a boxer starts talking about retirement, then they're already retired in their mind." Like as far as the mental fortitude they need to get through tough fight. So that's one thing. But if he doesn't have that mentality and really isn't ready to stop, then why not? I like to see him against some other opponents. And plus, he makes a great measuring stick with the other Munguia fight that he just had and the Canelo fight.
Okay. Now let's talk about the winner. Do you think Munguia is going to get a decent fight? Of course, the decent fight in his division is Canelo. I honestly don't see that happening anytime soon. So who do you guys see Munguia fighting next? I mean, he's got to fight another big name. Let's say he's been on a roll. I mean, those last two are really good. You got Derevyanchenko, you got Ryder. Those are two solid names. You need another step up, though, in that direction. Who do you think he should face next? And somebody that's believable.
Well, the problem there is that he's with Golden Boy. That's not really a problem, but is he going to face a Golden Boy fighter, or is he going to face someone outside of that?
That may actually be beneficial for him because Golden Boy is one of the few that actually bounces around somewhat.
According to Oscar, he wants to work with everybody.
Yeah, especially Bob Arum. So I think Diego Pacheco is with Bob Arum, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder about that because Diego Pacheco is 20-0.
We were actually just talking about Diego Pacheco. I said he's changed. He is contender now. He is definitely going to be one of those guys in the division. Is that a right fight yet, though? I mean, that might be too much soon? Yet for Pacheco. I think he needs to build a little bit more. I personally would love to see Munguia plant. I think Munguia is coming out on top of that, though, wearing him down. So maybe more of a Morel.
That's a danger.
Munguia Morel.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous matchup for sure, which is exactly what fans like me want to see. Like, we want to see a competitive bout and let us know who is the best out of these newcomers.
Yeah, on paper.
You know, Munguia really isn't a newcomer, but he's a newcomer to 168 pounds.
It happens in boxing. You know, that name can feel fresh again, you know.
I'd like to see him go the other way. I'd like to see Benavidez. That is a huge fight, in my opinion. Both of them pack a heavy punch. Both of them got chins. They're not afraid. You talk about machismo, that's definitely going to be present in that fight.
You know,
I would love to see that fight.
I would love to see it too. I just feel like you're taking years off that person's life. Both of them, they're losing at least 2 years off their life.
Absolutely.
Just from having that fight. They're going to beat the hell out of each other. But
another thing that I like to see in fighters is, especially fighters like Munguia, who can be sometimes one-dimensional, is to face a guy that has a different style or a style clash, just to kind of put it out there, see what you can do, maybe see if if they can frustrate you a little bit. And I think Andrade presents that type of challenge to these guys. And so I wouldn't mind seeing that just to kind of get him some more rounds, get him a different stylistic type of fighter, and just kind of to see what he can do against that type of style.
That's fair.
I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know if Munguia is ready for that challenge, but I definitely feel like Munguia may have a better skill set of tools available to him than Benavidez, because he just has the quickness. I don't even think. I think that Munguia might have a little bit of an advantage there, to be honest.
That's one thing about Munguia. He's improved.
That's true. Yeah, very much so. You can see that in his fight.
A lot of it's Freddie right now.
He's crediting Freddie a lot for that.
Freddie got him right this go around. Freddie really got him right, and they meshed really well.
Because a few years ago, Munguia was lunging a lot. And, coming in real wide with his punches.
And backing out with his head up a lot, too.
Chin up in the air. So I think there's a lot of... I see he's also a little bit more balanced. His shoulders are over his feet a little bit more. Mm-hmm. In the past, I mean, he was all over the place. So good for
I
him.
think he had some tutelage with Roble while he was under Morale. Oh no, what's his name? The trainer that was the champion that was helping to train Munguia. He was in the ring the other night.
Morales.
Morales, yes.
Eric Morales.
Yeah, so while he was with Morales, it was also Coach Roble that was with them and really teaching him some fundamentals. And I think that it's worked. And he's been tweaking stuff. And now Freddie Roach is more like know how to hone in on him and that power. When to use it, when not to use it, how many punches to throw. So I think all of that together is combining to make him like a more well-rounded boxer.
For sure. You know, you can't take away Freddie's involvement either. I mean, he's Amir Khan, for example. I always thought the best version of Amir Khan came out of Freddie Roach camp, definitely not out of a Virgil Hunter camp. You know, you took away some of his offense and tried to make him a little bit more defensive, a little bit more of a counterpuncher. It didn't work. It didn't work for a Khan style. He was always offensive, and you know, Freddie tried to help him slip punches more, and it helped, but you know, you can't save him from himself. He liked to overdo those combinations and stay in the pocket a little too long. We all know that, and that's what happened. And I think Freddie admitted that himself. But let's move on here. We got this card here: Conor Benn versus Peter Dobson. But before that, I did want to say I was surprised I saw Peacock listed as a holding a boxing card. This is a British boxing card, apparently, in London.
So why not?
That's new, right? I mean,
yeah,
who's
it is.
Who's
Absolutely
the commentators? New. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I like it. I mean, let's get Peacock involved. I mean, technically that's NBC, right? I mean,
yeah, that's NBC.
That might lead back to that might lead back to local TV, you know, over the air TV. We want that for boxing, guys. That's the best for the sport. The problem again is not just that fucking app, though. We want it back on regular ass TV.
What promoter is that with? Is that Boxer or who?
This is British. Dan Aziz versus Joshua Buatsi. I'm probably butchering that last
Buatsi, yeah.
But I do not see a listed promoter or anything like that. No.
Yeah, like I just want to know who the promoter is.
I bet I could find it real quick.
I knew this would happen because you now got Prime involved. You got DAZN. You got ESPN. Peacock was the only one left out there. So
yeah,
I knew.
Netflix has got a huge deal with WWE and UFC, I believe. I'm hearing about.
And that's my point, Shakura. Honestly, guys, I thought about this the other day with the whole Peacock situation. Even, you know, boxing couldn't lose to go that route.
No,
and just sell an exclusive deal to a company like Peacock, and then guess what? You get all the events for free.
Hey, I'm okay if I can see more fights. I don't care if it's, British fights or not. And to your question here, it looks like the promoter is Boxer, Boxxeo.
Okay, that's who I thought I had said Boxer. Okay. Well, I mean, that's great. I mean, I don't know if it's a one-time thing or if that's just them testing out the market to see if it's viable. But, I mean, my thing is like, I just want other sports to have to pay like we have to pay for all these different apps and subscriptions and stuff. Like, I feel like we get beat up on and they like take with these different apps. And I'm like mad at football fans for being able to see everything for freaking free.
Oh, no. Football is actually one of the only other ones, because football, you have to have Fox, you have to have Paramount, you have to have Peacock, and now you got to have Prime.
It's worse.
You have
than
Prime.
That.
You have to have an ESPN.
Football.
There's at least 5 right there.
Well, that's not even it.
I mean, I'm just saying,
football,
they don't have to pay all these additional apps to see programming.
Yeah, but football, you can't see every game. You're only subjected to what is on that actual programming. You have to buy an NFL ticket.
NFL
Right. You
expensive.
can have an NFL ticket, but you can also just now they got it on Prime on Thursday nights. I
Right,
mean,
but it's
you
not
got it.
every game, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not every
Well, they're
single
not. I
game.
mean, most people are only interested in like the championship main players games, and those are
No, people be interested in their teams, which is what I hate. And I know James does, being a San Francisco fan, and Lucas especially,
I watch
because you
all boxing or all
I think
football
James
too.
got on the San
I
Francisco.
mean, I watch as many games as I can. If it's Monday night, I'm gonna be honest right now. Okay, I don't have ESPN. I don't have a subscription, but I have my mother-in-law's code. She don't have ESPN either, but for some reason she's got ESPN Deportes. So I'll be learning Spanish when I'm watching boxing on Monday night. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I do. I'll watch it in Spanish. It's actually a little bit more entertaining. It makes it a little bit more fun for me. Me and the boys learn a little bit of Spanish. But but you got that. I mean, everything for football is just as bad as boxing. You got so many apps you got to go through. If your team faces on Thursday night, then you got to have Prime. You know what I mean? And if they've placed on Sunday night, then you got to have Peacock. It's a never-ending rotation of where are you and what can you get.
I mean, but I just paid my cable bill and they let me see it all. And I'm mad because I'm like, I'm looking for my boxing and I'm like, oh, that's right. I need to go to ESPN Plus to see one boxing card. And there's like 7 channels with freaking football on at the same time. Like they couldn't give up one of them fights for one freaking boxing card for 2 hours. You know, that's where I'm at. That's where my heart is at.
Yeah.
Well, we got this channel. We got ESPN, but I got ESPN Plus. And if there's shit on TV at home that's on ESPN, I can't watch it. I can watch ESPN Plus, but I can't watch regular ESPN.
Yeah,
that fucking sucks.
It does suck, doesn't it? It sucks, and I hate not having ESPN. I do love ESPN, but you can't get ESPN a la carte, which is annoying as shit. Like I should just be able to pay ESPN money, and you should be able to just give me that channel. I don't want shit else. I don't want ESPN Plus. I just want ESPN because ESPN Plus content is fucking garbage. It just is. It just is. There's not a lot to it.
You're saying that, but that's where a lot of the boxing is at right
now. But that's about it.
And UFC fights.
I'm saying, I don't give a shit about UFC, so that ain't for me. But
right.
But other than boxing, I only turn to it every once in a while. I think they had like 2 footballs that I was able to actually watch. The Saturday playoff game that it had one time, but I think that was about it. Other than that,
I like the Sports Center.
The reporting is.
Give me a recap.
That's what I want. I can't get it.
I'm good with that. I don't want to see the actual fights for football or basketball or any of that. I just, get a recap, and I'm like, when somebody brings up the topic of football, I at least know, like, who's still in the running for Super Bowl and stuff like that.
Exactly, and that's what I want. I love my Sports Center, and I can't get it without actually having a subscription. ESPN Plus will not show you Sports Center, so it sucks.
I gotta tell you what really, really makes what makes my blood boil is fucking pay-per-view, and they got commercials coming on.
Oh my God, that is a thing now.
Out of here with that shit. It is just
Yes, she's like, I thought I just paid to not see commercials and just see the content, and they got the commercials running anyway.
Yeah,
I think DAZN's doing that, and there was another company that was doing the same thing. I forget who it was recently.
BBC's been doing it for a while.
I forget who it was, but I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe this shit.
Yeah, like it's a little like, damn, now these commercials know that nobody's watching the cable commercials. So now they've like hopped over to paying ad buys for the Wi-Fi streaming content commercials. So, and I was watching Prime the other night, and this message came by, and it was like, hello, you are we just started something new, and if you don't want to see commercials, you can pay us an extra $2.99, but otherwise you're gonna see these damn commercials. That's basically what the message is like.
Right.
So now it's no longer just that $101 for Prime. If you don't want to see commercials, you have to add on an additional $2.99 right now to not see commercials each month. But
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's worth it because I mean, I already watch like the commercials when I'm watching Tubi or one of the free apps. When I done paid already for something like Prime and I want my video footage, and my movies to not be interrupted in a good spot because they always know where they're interrupted at, right? When you're like really like, damn, what's gonna happen next? Here comes the commercial. So it might be worth that extra two something, and they know that. So they need another two something. Because by in a year, it's gonna be like 12 something if you don't want the commercials.
That's true. That's what they're gonna do. I guarantee it. All right. Let's get back to the other fight here, the Conor Benn versus Peter Dobson. Guys, anybody see a fight? I'm sorry, Conor, I eat too many eggs, Benn versus Peter Dobson. I had to do it.
Let it go.
No, I'm never letting that go. Look, you test positive and said it was from eggs.
Oh my God, he was out there. Like he was out.
And
he's still suspended in the UK for whatever reason. I'm like, damn, how long were you gonna punish
let's be real. That's probably the only reason he's fighting here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to fight where he can fight, but like they've got it where the punishments are not, fair, and so. For me, I'm like, he's
fair?
already out for over a year. My goodness, like, how much punishment are you going to give him as opposed to some of these other people where you let them actually fight on the week that they freaking tested positive?
Jarrell Miller, big baby.
Yeah,
I mean they had him out for a long time too, to be honest. Yeah. So he don't count.
Well, he was fighting in Saudi Arabia, so that's a little different. But are you guys saying that Conor Benn cannot fight in England? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I think
right now he cannot.
Yeah, I think the BBB is still kind of like dragging behind with taking his suspension off.
The British Boxing Commission, I appreciate it. I don't know. Me and you see that a little differently, Sakura. I know. You think he's
because I don't like the unfairness of how they are punishing some boxers as opposed to allowing other boxers to not get any punishment.
Right, but it's British Boxing Commission. I don't know of any other person that's tested positive in the BBB or whatever.
Yes, classic example is Povetkin versus AJ. Povetkin tested positive, and then he got to fight Anthony Joshua over there at the UK. I'll back you on that one.
Fury also had an episode before he became the Fury that we know. He said that he ate bull testicles, and they kind of let him off the hook with that one, and he fought anyway.
See, this is what I mean. Why are we even testing? Like, let's just let him fucking fight all juiced up, because at this point, if they give you like I ate something, I ate steak, I ate eggs, I ate bull nuts. It doesn't matter. They just give it to him anyway. Oh, here's a free pass. It's stupid. It's stupid.
The sport turns into a science project at that point.
It really is. And let's face it, Conor Benn facing Peter Dobson. There's a fight there. Is anybody going to pick Peter Dobson in our little group here?
I was really trying to remember who he actually fought before, because I know the name sounds familiar, but I couldn't put who his last fight was actually with. I knew it was somebody,
Peter Dobson, Rob would know more because apparently his last fight was in Atlanta. But I
know that
not really a name fighter that I can tell you. He hasn't really even fought a guy that I can tell you his name.
If he's known in Atlanta, he ain't shit.
No, he's not.
That's terrible. That is an awful thing to say about your own people, your own city.
We do not have the best boxing in this city yet. We don't. We haven't even scratched the surface.
Boxing events doesn't equate to not having some, established boxers. That's good.
We haven't had a legit boxer in a long time.
Why come to America to just fight a fight though? Like, why are you not fighting a better fight than this? Why are
This
you
is
not
his
fighting better
second
opposition?
fight here in the U.S. And I'm not going to count out Dobson, to be honest with you. There was some points in the fight that he had with, I think he fought Jose Cepeda last.
No, he hasn't
So
fought
what?
anybody like that.
Who did he fight last in Orlando?
There has been no big name of
But
his.
but anyway, my point is that he didn't always look great in that fight that I saw him in last, because he had a bunch of, he was, basically out for a year and some months before he had that fight.
He did fight in Orlando against a Frank Gideon.
That's what it was. I'm sorry. Zepeda fight is the main event on that card. That's why I got it confused. Okay. But either way, what I'm saying to you is like, I mean, Dobson got a chance. I mean, if Conor Benn isn't, like in top tier shape, because last time, he was running out of steam a little bit. But, what I like about Conor is he's aggressive and he moves forward, and he also puts great combinations together when he wants to. So if he can, like, if he can stick to that type of game plan with Dobson, it could be, well, he better hope it's like an early night, because, I think that he's the type of fighter that really needs work with strength and conditioning or whatever. But maybe I'm just basing that on the fact that when I saw him in Orlando, he had been out for so long that maybe what I was seeing is just ring rush. You know what I mean?
Very much, very possible.
Dobson is gonna lose this fight. That's it. That's all that needs to be discussed.
That's what I was bringing up. Is like it's a stay busy fight here in America. Like, Ben needs a decent fight. Maybe the BBBFC will reconsider after that. Maybe. But I don't know. As you can see here, we usually do the odds per DraftKings. Ben is a minus 1,000 favorite, while Dobson is 600 underdog. This is pretty wide odds. Sounds like Vegas is definitely leaning towards Ben winning this one. And unless anybody disagrees, I think we're gonna go on to.
I'm gonna just say I don't mind boxers having stay busy fights. Like that's fine with me. That you want to stay busy and you want to stay active. I don't really think that that's a negative against a boxer, that they want to stay busy and they want to stay active. Every fight can't be like a huge competitive mega fight. Like, these guys do need to stay in shape while these different negotiations and bigger fights are being, negotiated and such. And if you want to be at the top of your game, staying busy is like the number one thing that can assist you in being ready, and having what you need for a bigger fight.
For sure. And if you're a fan of Ben, tune in. If not, don't watch it. If you don't want to see a fight that is meaningless to you, don't watch it. But if you're a fan of these guys, tune into that fight. Let's go back here. I did want to talk about something before we end the show. Undisputed, right? That word gets thrown out there quite a bit. Do you guys actually think in boxing right now is anybody truly undisputed? And I don't mean just because you have the belts. I'm talking undisputed. Rob, why you throwing a fit, Rob?
Well, I mean, the first thing that came to mind is the females. There's some undeniable, undisputed females like Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. You even had Clarissa Shields.
But you just said two names that dispute each other. You get what I mean? Is because those fights were very.
They're not at the same weight classes, though. I mean, Serrano moved up to fight Katie Taylor for their fight. Yep. So now Katie Taylor is undisputed at 122. Like, so they're still not like in the same undisputed divisions at the moment.
No.
But what I'm saying is you can have some key people like those that are the women, in which they do fight people that are actually on their top 10 ranked rankings, like you're saying that you would like Lucas for the men. So those were the first names that came to my mind. But I'll just say for the men, I'm coming up a little short on people that went through boxers that went through the division and cleaned it out to be undisputed. I think that's what you're trying to allude to. That is there a real fighter that's like cleaned out a division?
Which is two separate things, by the way.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
Okay, go ahead.
In 2024, I'm going to start answering y'all with the facts. The actual rule book, true definitions. Okay, Lucas? So the true definition of undisputed is who holds all four belts, all four major belts.
But you're saying it don't matter how they obtained those four belts.
Period. That's
Period
the only
is
definition.
What I'm asking you. So you saying it don't matter how they obtained
it don't, because that's not the definition. The definition
so you want to make undisputed status meaningless, is what you're saying.
The definition is the person who holds all four belts.
That's the definition. Not challenged or questioned. You're questioning every single person. There ain't nobody right now that I can say you're undisputed. You're not challenged. You ain't.
By the letter of the law.
Question. That's the point I want to get at. I answered the question. You didn't answer the question, Rob. Stick to the question. Do you know?
I did. By definition of undisputed, it's the person that has all four belts.
Well,
we have the most in the sport right now.
Name it. Name them.
We have the most. All of them. By definition, whoever has all four belts,
he's political.
Those are undisputed.
Sakura, he's politically answering again and basically just saying the undisputed guys are undisputed. So therefore,
you still ain't named them because guess what?
Some of them
Canelo.
You have Canelo. You have Haney. You have Canelo. You have
Haney don't have them undisputed belts no more. He gave it up. Remember, to move up. Next, who?
Ain't no way.
Haney. You have the monster.
Does definitely have undisputed belts.
Little monster is undisputed
champion.
Now, in a way, may actually be.
Technically, he's unified. He fought a guy with 2 or more belts.
Yes.
Yeah, but he already had two. But he already had 2 belts.
Okay, he didn't win him off of 2 people.
Oh, okay.
He unified it.
He's got all 4 belts.
He got all 4 belts.
Right. By definition, James. This is why I hate these conversations.
Okay. Hold on.
But guess what? I gotta say this first before we move on. Just remember, Rob does not validate boxers that are under 130. So Monster doesn't even count.
He doesn't even count. He's not on your list, right?
Yeah.
I never said monster.
He can't even be your choice.
Let me rephrase that. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me rephrase that so the people don't get a misinterpretation of what I say. Okay? In my professional opinion, I rate boxers based off of who can move up in weight and still be as successful. That's what I want to see. No matter if it's 135, 118, any of that.
What you're saying is not always capable.
I'm not done. The reason why I'm saying that is because we talked about a fighter earlier tonight, Navarrete. He could be one of the best, but I want to see what he can do when he moves up in weight. Why? Because Shakur Stevenson obviously is being weighted out the current weight class he's in. He has no competition at his level, so he's probably going to need to move up. And guess what? I know he'll be successful at that next weight class. Navarrete, I don't think so.
But neither one of them are undisputed.
Yeah. So Rob, let me just reword it so that you can't give me that political answer, right? let me ask you this, Rob. What person in any weight class, I don't care, you just name one, that is not challenged or questioned the undeniable champion. Like, there's not somebody in your head that thinks he might lose to.
You ready? Tyson Fury.
I think that's going to end the show.
You asked the fucking question. I just answered it for you.
That's
What are we
fair.
saying here?
I mean, he's saying that Tyson Fury's basically undisputed already. So nobody's gonna be able
But
to touch
Usyk
him.
is undisputed. Fury is a lineal champion.
Usyk
Plus,
is a
Usyk is going to whoop him.
cruiserweight. He's a cruiserweight that went up to heavyweight. He has not proven it yet to me.
Okay, so I
proven.
like how you
Usyk
want to be technical
In
at
that,
some
in,
point.
in that debate,
Then you don't
Usyk-
want to be technical when you're talking about what weight class it is when it suits you. But when we bring up weight bullying
Oh,
and the
but
different weight
y'all are
classes,
bringing up-
you
see,
say
here we
it's
go.
not. It shouldn't be considered. But now you want it to be considered when you're talking about Usyk.
No. The question was,
Don't you love it
who
when
do
I have my
feel
lawyer
is
hat on,
not
guys?
challenged or questioned? I have questions marks about Usyk. I don't about Fury. Why? Because every challenge that motherfucker faced, he won.
I mean, I guess he's answering the question. We
Even
can't
though
get
he
too
looked
mad
like
at it.
shit against Ndango. Is that how you say his name?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Nagano.
Who would
Nagano.
be Sakura and James? Who would you guys say?
Well, I said the monster.
Same here.
That's about the only one I can come up with. Canelo, we have obvious questions
I
about other
have a
fighters.
question for y'all
Go ahead.
then about Innuendo. What happens when he moves up in weight?
We don't know.
He just did. He just moved up in weight.
You gotta give him some time.
Yeah, like
You
he
mean-
just moved up to that weight, and in 2 fights he got the belts. So you're asking what happens when he moves up in weight to what weight class?
I
To
validate.
135, which is where you start counting them,
I
or is it
validate.
okay to say 130?
I validate y'all answer. I like the monster just as well as I do Fury. He's unquestioned and he's been unchallenged. I'll give y'all that. I like that.
I saw a minimum weight that you
I'll
would
give
love
y'all.
the other night on Saturday night. He was on the Munguia undercard, and you would have loved the way
Too many punches
this
thrown
little
in that
wrecking
fight.
ball came through.
Too
Rob,
many punches thrown in that fight. But let me go back to this. I validate what y'all are saying. I do. Give it 2 years. If he is not as dominant in those upper weight classes as he is right now, I told you so.
Who? And who are you talking about?
He's talking
He
about
could move
middleweight.
up to. He can move up to 126.
Yeah, he
Maybe
could be
just
a super
dominant.
featherweight. But 135. I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, I might not see him at 135. However, by the time he gets there, who's going to be there to challenge him?
We shall see.
I mean, it just seemed like most of the division is getting cleared out, like you said already, to go into 140 and 147. So hell, I mean, Tio is willing to go to 154 if it means he could have a bud fight. So if these guys are like moving out of that 135 division, and at some point Shakur has to, by the time that Inoue was to get to 135, he basically wouldn't have that many people to challenge him.
So he
maybe
stays
you should get there
undisputed.
quicker.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Rob be wanting to just put. He like, you're 4'7". I want to see you fight at 154. Goddamn it!
That's why he's okay with this Bud fighting Canelo situation.
Oh,
He's like, yeah, he can do it. Get him in there. You know, whatever. Like, I'm just saying, like, Rob, I understand what you're saying. I just feel like with that undisputed status, you really do. I mean, wouldn't you feel like there was more value in the undisputed status at a particular weight if they actually fought and cleared out the division to receive it?
Well, again, I think that's two separate conversations, two separate situations.
But I'm asking you specifically about the value of undisputed when you actually have, you know, kind of gone through the division and wiped it out.
the divisions believe that if you are the champion,
I didn't ask you the technical question. I said, do you specifically have an opinion on the value of a champion if they are undisputed after they've actually went through the division and beat their counterparts?
I'll answer your question like this.
The value of it.
Don't ever say I didn't give you nothing. I think somebody clearing out their division, not being just undisputed, but actually clearing 1 through 10 out of the division is definitely something of greater value. And
But it depends on how they do it.
Unfortunately, it's something that is extremely rare.
Okay.
It is, because you got guys like Canelo who can do that, but
don't start, James. Don't start, James.
Now he's starting where we left off at.
Very easy targets on the way up. Liam Smith, come on, that was
stop
cake.
it.
I'm sorry. I had to laugh because James, you missed the first part of the conversation we was having, and that was the very topic we were talking about, James. And you just brought it up again. He has validated Lucas and I's opinion. Okay, so Rob, that was a tiebreaker right there when James said what we said.
Again, I feel that is of greater value, but that's not the question Lucas originally asked.
Right. Well, he was trying to ask that in a way that you would actually answer the way that I asked the question, but you kept meandering around the actual question. So I finally broke it down to who do you value
I'm
more?
glad we got that straight, because I said that from the beginning that those are two separate things.
I mean, for me personally, I have a lot of value in a boxer that don't necessarily win every fight in their division, but they're willing to fight everybody in their division. Like that holds a lot of value for me also. The fact that they're willing to take that risk and try to be the person that, actually faces their competition at their division. Yeah, so that holds a lot of value with me as well.
And when fights are mandated, especially ones that make fucking sense, they don't run or vacate to avoid. Look, everybody wants Derevianchenko, Canelo avoided. Okay,
Let
it was a mandated fight. I'm not saying he couldn't have won. Just saying, is a tough fight. Is there in his face. He didn't want to do it. Go ahead, Rob.
Let me ask you something, Lucas. Money rules the world, right? It shouldn't.
Oh, yeah,
it shouldn't, but it does.
Well, actually, sex does, but okay.
Well, both, but unfortunately, money controls sex, so money still controls the world.
Listen.
You got enough money, you can have sex with anybody.
Let me own in on this before we get off topic. Money rules the world, right? So, if money rules the world, why are you knocking these guys for taking bigger money fights at whatever weight class that they make?
Because compared
to hold on, compared to fighting a lesser known opponent that can possibly beat them for peanuts on the dollars.
Are you ready for the answer? Okay. I'm gonna compare this to football. Okay, so James will get it a little bit better too. I think everybody's gonna understand my answer here. Okay, so what you're saying is you're at the top, right? Why should you go through the whole season, right, and face all these other teams? Well, you can just go ahead and play for the Super Bowl any point you want and just play for more money. The problem is boxing doesn't have that. They don't have this. You have to face these people. You have to do this. You have to win to keep moving to get to that top. That top puts you up there. And then once you're up there, you get to choose. Oh, no. And at this point, it would be like the Niners, like James Niners picking out the fucking Panthers, who were like, 2 wins this season? I don't even know. And then just beating the shit out of them, right? And then they're like, oh, next give me the Chargers and the Vikings. And not picking teams that even made the playoffs. That's my answer, Rob. That's why I don't like it. Is because all they're doing is just, I want to go to the Super Bowl already. You got to earn the fucking Super Bowl. You got to get your chance to go there. You don't just give it to you. That's what's bullshit. That's what I don't want to see.
Okay.
Surprisingly, to all of y'all, I like that answer.
Oh no, hell finna freeze over.
Oh man, it's been.
I mean, I like the answer too, but there's sometimes I do wish people would like skip a fight.
Yeah.
Case in point is this Lomachenko versus Kambosos. I was just like, wish that could just be skipped. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah,
why?
well, that's
Fast forward.
That's an interim belt, though. So they should never be fighting for an interim belt.
Lomachenko, interim belt. Why is it an interim belt when they're still at lightweight? And
Lomo has to prove himself again. In my book.
What? No, he proved himself with his fight against Devin Haney.
Look,
he deserves
lost.
to be.
He won.
His name should be in the top of conversation at 135. The way his performance was, whether he lost or won. Didn't I just tell you? I like it when a boxer is willing to face boxers in their division, whether they win or not. They're facing them, which means that they gain something even from that loss. To me. So I mean, that's basically what happened to Canelo with Floyd, right? He gained something from that made him a little bit better boxer. So what I'm saying to you is Lomachenko right now, James said it's an interim title at 135. What title? WBC or WB? What?
IBF.
Huh?
IBF.
IBF. Okay, so I thought. Okay, so I guess Haney has dropped all the belts then at this point.
I didn't know.
Well, it's IBF for a life, but the funny thing is that they're also fighting for us IBO. That's a fucking thing. That's another thing that's coming into play, and that's because that's compliments of Eddie Hearn. He's pushing this fifth belt. He's pandering this fifth fucking belt.
I mean, it's like a European. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of European boxers that's fighting for that due to, like you're saying, Eddie Hearn's influence. But but this is my thing is, okay, people have the right to try to create belts. I know that in the US they have a cap now where, you know, you can't really introduce another sanctioning belt to box rec at least. It would have to be an established belt that's already been in uses sometime over history. But for they are fighting in Australia. I'm fine with them fighting for that extra belt. It's just why that this is not the most competitive fight for Lomachenko. We all know how this fight's going to end. I mean, practically Lomachenko would have to like suffer from some type of catastrophic injury in order for him not to win this fight. Like sometimes you just wish, like, why are we having this fight?
Well, my question is, why are we looking at another belt? We should have less belts, not more. But this is something that this is compliments of Eddie Hearn.
To be honest, okay.
I got an idea, James.
I agree with both of you guys. I think it's a meaningless fight, and I agree with the meaningless title too. We don't need another one. Jesus Christ, we got
hold up though. But if our other titles are not living up to what they were designed to do, and it's not matching, you know, people up, like we got this, you know, WBO situation with Navarrete, like why shouldn't other sanctioning bodies be allowed to try to get it right?
Because when's it going to
start? Like, we're the ones that supporting belts that are not
5, 6,
matching people
7,
up.
8.
I'm just saying, like, if we know
y'all.
It's a real major problem with the female boxers, by the way, where they're being allowed to, like, women that have legitimate rankings are being allowed to get skipped over because they are not that superstar, mega beautiful looking, you know, all American or all UK looking type, you know, woman fighter, and they're not being acknowledged in the sanctioning bodies that they're actually ranked in. They're being allowed to be skipped over. So if you're going to have sanctioning bodies that are continuing to allow this type of behavior, then, you know, why shouldn't there be another, you know, sanctioning body that wants to try to do things differently? If that's what they really truly are trying to do. I mean, they deserve to have that right to try to make, you know, the system more what is the word? Equal.
Yeah, you're right.
For each.
You're right. It's just there's so many, and I feel like if you just keep opening that door, they're never going to shut. That's
Beef.
I mean,
Now,
like
I got an
IBF, they
idea.
stick to their word. When, like, for example, IBF, they stick to their word. When they say you can't, skip over a
Rehydrate.
box. If you didn't fight, you're mandatory. We're gonna take your belt. Like, they're sticking to that.
I
Even
like
when
the
it doesn't make
IBF.
sense, but that's not the top belts.
I
But
get it.
IBF is one of them. So why are we supporting IBF more?
You know why? I'm gonna be honest with you, because boxing fans just want to see fights, and they want to see the fight happen. And if you stand up for your morals in this sport of fucking boxing, you get taken advantage of, or nobody gives a fuck about you. That's basically what it is. They're holding a rehydration clause. They're one of the few ones that do it to 10 pounds. Guess who's one of the most unliked belt there is? IBF. What's
IBF.
everybody want? The WBC, which is the most corrupt fucking belt that there is. So it doesn't matter. People like what's corrupt. People
Now,
like
you know
what's
what?
shitty.
I
You
love
know
my
it's true.
WBC belt. Now that thing is that's a pretty belt, and it
I
garners
mean,
the most money
It is.
for its
It is.
champions.
symbolism of just
So
money.
I
That's all
mean,
it is.
that
It
is what it
is.
is. But at the same time, I'm saying, why shouldn't IBO be allowed? You know what I'm saying? Like,
It should,
they can
but
try to make it
yeah,
a better
it's
system too.
I don't know.
Because there's a lot of females I know that are getting skipped over for championship. Like, they earned where they're at on the rankings, and they're getting skipped over and not allowed to fight some of these other girls that are considered a superstar type boxer, just because they don't have necessarily what they consider to be the right imaging to put money behind, which is so not right. Like, these women, they have earned their place. They have the great skills. They have put in a lot of work from, like, being a kid on up to where they're at now, just to be passed over for opportunities when they're
Oh yeah.
supposed to be like somebody's number one contender.
Hey, it happens to the men too. It's just not as blatant with the looks. It's more of stylistically how you fight, your fan base, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it is very skewed.
And it's always the women that's like, oh, I'll fight her too. Like, they're the ones that's getting skipped over, but they're willing to fight anybody, whether they win or not.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I
the
got an
women have
idea.
even less people to fight. So yeah, they're usually willing to fight. Rob, go ahead.
Yep. And this is my rapid fire tonight.
Oh, fuck.
I got an idea, and this could be for the man and the women. But
Okay.
why don't we just take the two most popular belts, the WBC, the WBO, and put them on the line and have a 30-man and a 30-women Royal Rumble contest, no matter
Oh my
the weight,
God.
and just have 30 men and women in the ring at the same time. And you got to knock somebody out the ring to eliminate them.
This really
and then
sounds like an
the winner goes
entirely
on
different
to-
discipline
That's
that
a
you're
different
in.
and the
sport,
winner
yeah.
goes on to WrestleMania.
I like it. I like it.
I'm done. for
Yeah,
you.
that's the show. We can't go after that. All
Yeah,
right,
I don't know what to say after that
That's
one.
gonna be on DAZN. Watch.
Hey, and let's call it the Royal Rumble.
All right. You check us out every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Next week, of course, we're going to be talking the fight between Teofimo Lopez and Jermaine Ortiz, as well as Keyshawn Davis and Jose Pedraza on the undercard. And again, we don't pull any punches. Check us out again next Tuesday. Have a good night.